He's announcing that the White House is expanding his cancer moonshot initiative. The goal, cut the death rate from cancer in America in half within the next 25 years. President Biden announced he's appointing an inaugural director to lead the Advanced Research Projects Agency for Health. It's an agency he created back in March, focused on developing biomedical technologies. The president also signed an executive order that launches a national biotechnical and biomanufacturing initiative. The order will bolster research and aims to solidify supply chains, so the breakthroughs in the fight against cancer are developed here in America. President Biden outlined his plan today at the John F. Kennedy Presidential Library and Museum in Boston. It comes 60 years to the day since President Kennedy's moonshot speech when he outlined his goal to land a man on the moon. President Biden says beating cancer should matter to everybody.
Cancer does not discriminate red and blue. It doesn't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Beating cancer is something we can do together.
For President Biden and so many others, it's personal. His son, Beau, died at age 46 of brain cancer. Mr. Biden helped create the Cancer Moonshot Initiative when he was vice president. Dr. Siddhartha Mukherjee is with us now. He's an oncologist and researcher for cancer treatment. He's also an assistant professor of medicine at Columbia University. Doctor, thanks so much. How much of an impact can this initiative really have?
I think it have an enormous impact. I think moonshot campaigns really energize and charge researchers. My only concern with any moonshot campaign is that we have to manage expectations, public expectations. And number two is that we have to be really honest about what is happening and how it's happening. So as long as we can manage and communicate where we are, where we're going, and what's happening next, I'm all for moonshot campaigns. They energize researchers, they energize the public, they energize all of us. But again, it's really, really important. What we've learned from the past moonshot campaigns is to manage public expectations and communicate progress.
That said, what are the most promising areas in cancer research that need a boost right now?
Well, I mean, the biggest bang for the buck in cancer is always going to be prevention. Prevention. That's where, if you want to reduce deaths by half, you want to concentrate enormously on prevention. We have identified many preventable sources of cancer, obesity being one of them. So there's behavioral change. On the far end of the spectrum, we are looking at new therapies which look at cancer in a different way. We used to think, of course, cancer is a genetic disease. And for a long time, there's a lot of cancer genetic sequencing going on. And that's helped us understand the cancer. But now we need to understand the physiology of cancer. Why does it behave this way? How does it take all these mutant genes and become this malignant player? And I think in the treatment end, this kind of more holistic view of cancer, the nutrients that the cancer uses, the blood vessels that it pulls out, the environment, the homes it builds for itself, how can we target those? How can we use the immune system against cancer? So again, prevention is going to be the mainstay of reduction of cancer deaths. And in the treatment, a more holistic view of cancer, which involves not just the cancer cell sitting in a vacuum by itself, but how a real tumor behaves and what the physiology of that real tumor is.
So interesting. Doctor, it took nearly 9 years to land a man on the moon after Kennedy's speech. Think we'll be able to beat cancer in about that time?
No, I think there's no one cancer.
Right.
I think there's a spectrum of cancers, some of which we're already doing very well with. Reductions of deaths from breast cancer have been phenomenal. Over the last 50 years, reductions because of smoking-related cancers have gone down enormously. So I think in some cancers, we're making enormous strides and progress. In other cancers, they've been real challenges. Pancreatic cancer is one example. Cancers of the esophagus and lung have been big challenges. So I think, again, as far as treatment is concerned, I think it will take different periods of time for different cancers. And once again, this kind of more a deeper physiological understanding, not just genetic sequencing, sequence all the cancer genes. That's been very helpful, told us a lot, but now we need to take one step deeper and further, prevent cancer, and also learn its inner physiology.
Dr. Siddhartha Mukherjee, thank you so much. Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.